Who's to say that this podcast right now isn't? We so appreciate you being willing to spend a little bit of time with us. Mama, how are you?
I'm good.
I'm glad. You
How
look
are you?
absolutely stunning today.
do.
A mother of 5, everyone. Can we give her a round of applause? Huh? Beautiful. Look at her go. If she's sitting a little funny, it's because she's once again experiencing just some slight back pain that everyone seems to think has something to do with.
The horse. Yeah, people were blaming the horse.
I was going to say Micah.
Oh, okay. So I know that it's from the way that I'm holding Micah. And the problem is not that I'm holding him and I refuse to put him down. The problem is that when I hold him, I do this weird arch thing. It's like I'm trying to
I do it too.
do you in your lower back?
I
do
contort my body all weird.
And it's not necessary.
For the sake of balancing him.
Yeah, I think
because he's
so.
still a little unsteady.
I'm trying to keep his head a little bit more back. And so I'm arching my lower back and I do it for prolonged periods of time. And I even do it while I sit.
Oh, the back arch.
Yeah. And then when I set him down, I feel it. So then when I sit and I compress it, and maybe I do have a slight tailbone injury from giving birth or from falling on the ice that wasn't being
brought
agitated.
That up. A few people brought that up.
Yeah. They're like, remember when you fall on the ice? I'm like, yeah. So I could have just had an injury and it's being agitated by the weird way that I'm standing right now.
So we've been explaining to you guys over the past couple of episodes that this is a new normal for us. Obviously, we went 10 years without having a baby around. And because of that, we're trying to adjust and adapt and find our rhythm, let's say, as far as workflow goes with doing this podcast. Nevaeh is currently outside babysitting for us. And like we mentioned last week, there is a possibility that door busts open at some point. We have a crying baby in here once again.
And producer Micah comes to join us.
Producer Micah joins the party. I'm praying that does not occur just because it's nice to get through this very smoothly in one hour take.
Yep.
How are you feeling physically otherwise? And I'm asking this because there's been a lot of concern lately, not just in the videos, but it seems like everyone I encounter here in real life is asking me about you and how you're doing physically because you're no longer a 20-year-old who gave birth.
I know. Everybody wants to point that out. You're not 25 anymore. I think your dad said that 3 times. I'm like, I know. I'm very well aware that I'm not 25 anymore. But honestly, the pregnancy and the birth and the recovery at 42 was the same. I'm not going to say it was the same as when I was 23 because that was bam, normal the next day.
I feel like you snapped right back into your original shape, though.
I feel like it was very similar to my pregnancy and birth and recovery with Eli and with Kira.
You've been getting a lot of compliments about how you're still glowing, about how you look so great. Tell you what, let's flood the comments down below. Let's give
I don't
Melissa
need that,
a little boost.
No, it's fine. And
isn't she lovely?
No, I don't think just because you give birth, I feel like people are over focused on the way that new moms look, whether it's she got fat or she looks so good. Either way, it's pressure. Let's just let moms be a mess.
You are doing great though. And on that note, when it comes to what's the term that you wanted me to use instead of saying breastfeeding repeatedly?
Nursing. Jeremy's always like, we're going to be doing some breastfeeding in here. I was like, you can just say nursing. Nursing is the more PG.
The booby buffet.
Okay.
How's that?
Oh, we'll just go with the
booby buffet. Speaking of, I don't know if you caught this in the news through this past week here, but there was this really impressive 42-year-old mom. You should probably have, you guys have a lot in common.
I feel like we need to have her on the pod.
That'd be great. So she is an ultra marathon runner and she caught a lot of attention because not only did she win her race, 100-kilometer race at age 42, but she did it while nursing.
While booby buffeting it.
Booby buffeting it. Let me play this video.
Booby buffet when you're running.
It is a 2.5 minute long video, but this woman is so incredibly impressive. Stephanie Case is her name. Again, this occurred over in the UK. She ran this ultra marathon, 100 kilometers. I don't know what that turns out to in miles, but more than I'm capable of running myself currently, and I'm not sustaining a baby physically. Let's jump into this.
For Stephanie Case, it was a pretty normal day out.
When I see that photo, it's me in motion, standing up. I could have been in the kitchen. I mean, it's just a slice of what a mom does, which is multitasking. And all I see is this bond between me and Pepper.
But what most people saw in
I
this now
love
viral
that.
photograph, an extraordinary feat of endurance.
I was running, I was breastfeeding. I really didn't think too much about it.
The 42-year-old Canadian, a human rights lawyer, ultra-marathoner, and most importantly, she says, Pepper's mom ran and won her first race back 6 months after giving birth.
She didn't know.
And she did it while stopping 3 times to breastfeed Pepper.
Okay, so the picture is posted and people are like, whoa, like, can't believe it. But then the judgment comes in. Can you talk about that turn?
Yes. Well, the response has been overwhelmingly positive. There has been a cohort of negative comments. You should be at home with your baby. Why didn't you do this race later on? Does she spend any time with her baby? When it's moms who are saying, oh, I feel so bad about myself, I feel a responsibility to reach out to them to say, like, hey, I'm only here because I've got maternity leave. I have a support system, but I'm still peeing myself. I'm still not sleeping
Why
through the
should you pee
night.
yourself?
This is hard.
The
What do you mean I've
100
never peed
kilometer or
myself?
62-mile ultra trail Snowdonia race in
That's all
northern
the
Wales
running.
last month was Case's way of easing back into it, a warm-up for the Hard Rock 100-mile race in Colorado this summer. Case had been out of competition for roughly 3 years through pregnancy loss and fertility treatments, and plenty of judgment, she says, for every choice she made during that time.
Before I gave birth, I thought, okay, I'll be lucky if I can come back and run, and maybe I'll just be able to finish races and not have any big goals. And screw it. I want to go hard and see how far I can go.
But don't call it a comeback, she says. It's just the next chapter, and navigating motherhood is going to look different on all of us.
Running 100K works great for me.
Right.
Not everyone's cup of tea.
Right. Not my Saturday idea of fun, but I'm so psyched that it is yours, Stephanie.
Molly Hunter, NBC News, London.
Get after it, Stephanie.
Get after it.
Isn't that a cool story?
And she's a pretty lady, too.
She is so incredibly impressive and inspiring. The race all its own is incredibly, 100 kilometers. Would they say it was 60 something miles?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's funny what she was talking about, kind of the internet opinions. So I think anytime that you put anything on the internet, it's not that you welcome it or that you're asking for it, but you're going to get it.
Oh, tell me more.
So we've been seeing a lot of that now that we've had a baby. And it was funny because when I was pregnant, Nevaeh said, oh, wait until you start including the baby, whether it's in videos or photos.
What was your reaction to that?
I was like, nah, this is our 5th baby. I don't think people are going to be that after us. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Like on this last video, we take Micah out at probably 7 o'clock in the morning. I think it was like 60 degrees and I was kind of sheltering the sun out of his eyes. And people are like, he needs sunglasses. He needs a sun hat. He's going to get sunburned. I'm like, it's like 7 a.m. It was like borderline chilly.
He was okay.
And then we did take him out in the afternoon and we talked for 30 seconds. And then I brought him back in. It was too hot. And we came back out after dinner at 7 to plant the garden. And the sun hat comments dominated the comment section. And it was on Facebook. It was on Instagram.
No, I wouldn't say it dominated the comment section. It was just a common theme that was brought up repeatedly.
Very reoccurring. And then people started to fight within the comment threads, like, leave her alone.
Yeah,
she
because
knows
other
what
people
she's
came
doing.
to our defense, to your defense.
And then people were like, she doesn't know what she's doing. The baby's head will melt from the sun. And I just wrote, the baby is not a vampire. It can have sunlight on its skin. In fact, it's very good. So Micah was born with a little bit of jaundice. Nothing where we really saw it in his skin, a little bit on his forehead. If you would press, you could see a little bit of it.
Yeah, it was
Nothing
fine.
that the midwife even brought up. No. I just personally recognized it after having kids that have had jaundice and haven't. And the whites of his eyes were cloudy, which is just mild jaundice. And so the midwife and I both agreed 15, 20 minutes of sunshine time. He loves his sunshine time.
Yeah.
I strip him down to his diaper. I realize that he's 7 weeks old and he doesn't have jaundice anymore, but he likes sunshine time. I think it's really healthy for him. We as human beings need vitamin D in our system. It builds up our immunity and we need it. If you're vitamin D deficient, you'll get the scurvy. No, so either way, you just need vitamin D. You need a little bit of sunlight. You need a little bit of fresh air. We're not going to keep him inside. And every time he's in the sun, I'm not going to slather him in chemical sunscreen. And we will just
Yeah, I mean, I don't want this to be like the primary takeaway from this particular story, something you want to bring up and mention, just because.
Maybe I'm just feeling sensitive after the last video.
Sure.
I'm not feeling sensitive about it. I just want people to know that we are so cautious. I am an overly cautious mother. And if you see baby in the sun, you know it. Like
That's an understatement.
Yeah. If you see baby in the sun, that's probably his only son that he got that day.
Micah gets like 95% of his day is spent indoors. He's had
99%
2 outings since being born. Mm-hmm. We spend all of our time here on the property because we are part of the Homebody Club. It's what we do. So, I mean, I guess I appreciate the concern. I do. Yeah. For those of you out there who are trying to look out for us and baby Micah, producer Micah.
Yes.
But we're okay.
Yeah.
We got this.
And he does have a sun hat for all the people that wrote me asking what size his head was. I don't need you to say. In fact, I have purchased 3 sun hats. You can attest to this. They started coming in the mail and I was like, I don't like this one. It's too crunchy. I finally found one that was soft. He hates it. He just screams when I put it on his head because it's floppy and it's in his eyes. And so we just limit his sun time. We stay in the shade. But he does get his 15 to 20 minutes of sunshine time in his diaper. It's important. The funny thing is we did a Angel Studios I did a little shout out to the last rodeo when I was out with the horses. Mm-hmm. He was having sunshine time in the rocker and I went, you know what? I've got my phone here. I'm going to go do like a little shout out to the last rodeo. And so I went out there and he was just sleeping. And when Micah sleeps, he does like one of these things, like the arms are to the side and his neck is back. And like I can try to adjust his neck and he will grunt and then like put it back. And Nevaeh slept exactly like that. Remember, like a star. Mm-hmm. We tried to do the whole swaddler thing.
We don't have swaddle babies.
We don't have swaddle babies. I'll tell you why in a second. There's a reason.
Well, they've all hated it.
They've hated it, but there's also like an actual medical science reason not to swaddle your babies. But like Nevaeh hated it. Micah hates being restricted. He loves to have his head hanging back. So he was sleeping. His head was back, but it was balanced on my arm. Like it's not like his head was going to fall off. And so I talked for like 30 seconds. His face is in the sun. People lost their mind. Poor Angel ended up like reposting it as like an ad on Facebook.
Well, it got like 1 million views on Facebook.
Like
so
over
of course,
1 million views.
The primary focus became, is that a real baby?
Well, people were like, get that baby's face out of the sun. He was sleeping and his eyes were closed and he was just loving his time. Like you can tell he's just like eating it up. And they were like, she's not supporting his head. His head's going to fall off. And then all these people were like, it's not a real baby. It's a rubber baby. And they're like, why does she have a rubber baby? And then it became like this thing about to be fair, soothe with rubber babies.
I rewatched it with that in mind. And I will say, like, I get where they're coming from because he did look, he looked, I mean, I hate saying this, but he kind of looked lifeless. He looked like a doll.
He was so deep. He was like in REM sleep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just funny because whether it's, you know, people that know us or it's just complete strangers on the internet seeing it. Like one lady was like, I will never watch any movie she recommends because she does not take care of her baby. And then the comments underneath, it's not a real baby. It's a rubber baby. No, it's a silicone baby.
It's all fun. God love the internet.
The internet is so funny. But Nevaeh was right. With babies in particular, wow. Like,
I think it's, you know what, I think, and we always bring this up here, and I feel bad even pointing this out, but I think it's a generational thing. Once again, it's one of those things where back in the day, because I was definitely like that. I can recall being even like a toddler, some of my earliest memories, my mom being like, cover the baby. Yeah. Granted, that was in Hawaii, not in North Idaho, where we get very little sun, and it doesn't get
it's so
particularly
important
hot
for us
here.
to get a little bit of sunshine and vitamin D, because we're so vitamin D deficient living in the Pacific.
In the winter.
Yeah. Which is why I think you see so many viruses and sicknesses.
And it has a physiological impact or like a mental one. Yeah, it does. For sure.
Yeah, everyone needs a little sun. I mean, it is recommended that people get 15 to 20 minutes of no sunscreen, limited clothing, sunshine a day.
I think I got too much sun when I was young. Though. I got like weird things popping up on my skin now that I'm slightly concerned with. Did you make that appointment for me, by the way? Side note.
We can talk about it later. But yeah, no, I did.
No, appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, anyway, back on track.
Why is it that wives have to make the appointments? I want to know, do any of your husbands call and make their own doctor's appointments, or do they tell you that they need to go to the doctor? Or do you tell them that they need to go to the doctor? Yeah. I think that's usually the way it...
Yeah, it's not usually me.
Yeah, never. You're like, Mom, I needed to make a doctor's appointment. Or did you make our dentist appointments? I'm like, you have a phone? Call. Make yourself an appointment.
It's true.
I just want to know if I'm the only one. I don't think so.
Back to the booby sustenance. Can I ask you a question? Has that been a smooth transition back into doing that after 10 years?
Yeah, well,
Because the first time it wasn't so smooth, as I'm sure is the case for most new moms out there.
the first time's hard. I think that's something that
Is that
people
too personal?
don't.
I'm sorry. Is that too personal?
No, I don't think so. I literally was talking to a publicist, which is a whole nother exciting thing that I can tell you guys about later, but something you guys have been asking for. But I was talking to this publicist, and then he was like, "Oh, you have a little baby too? Oh, you have 5? We just had our first, and my wife's milk supply is low." And that was like the first thing he said to me. And then he felt awkward and like pulled back from it.
You've
But
been
I would
having
have
a lot
talked
of
to him
really
about
interesting conversations with random strangers on the telephone or
when you say
via
that
Zoom.
you're a mother of 5
Yeah.
and you don't show a picture of you with your baby in the sun, people really want to like pick your brain when it's their first baby. And so I think he said that, like blurted it out because it was something he was concerned about. And then he was like, "Oh, I shouldn't talk to this brand new person about nursing and milk supply of my wife."
Nice
But
to meet you.
I totally would have talked to him about it. I don't find nursing to be
Off limits.
off limits.
Taboo.
It's to me, it's a very PG. I mean, I nurse in front of our kids and everything. I don't nurse in public, and I'll tell you why. Well, I do, but under a cover. But I will nurse in public. Like if you know I'm nursing and I have a cover on,
The
I don't
cloak.
care. Yeah. I'm not going to bare breast nurse in public. And the reason is not because I think that there's anything wrong with it. Like I said, I do it in our own home. But I don't feel like I get to put my feelings on nursing on other people and other people's children.
You feel like it's imposing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I have no problem. Like we have younger kids, and if there were a mom out there that were doing that and they were in like plain view of our kids, I wouldn't personally care, but I know that other people do.
I don't personally care about
Yeah.
nursing.
But I think it's a consideration, right? Like when people
Right.
have kids, especially, like if you're an adult, get over it. Sorry. I don't,
Yeah.
like, come on. It's a boob.
Right. Yeah. If there's just adults around, like,
Yeah. Big whoop.
but if there's other people's children around, it's like swearing in front of other people's children. If you choose to swear in your own home in front of your children, that's one thing. But you should never swear in front of someone else's children
Yeah.
because that might be a big deal.
I
Same
will
with
tell you
nursing.
that I am guilty of that. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll use a cuss word. I shouldn't.
But you
in the
don't in
presence
front
the
of other
kids.
people's
But when
kids.
other people feel comfortable doing it in front of my kids, even my older kids, I don't
Mm-hmm.
care. I get frustrated internally, which
Yeah,
is really weird.
Like, why are you speaking like that in
It's
front of
hypocritical, but it's just different when it's somebody else, I guess. And I'm not
It's a
trying to like justify. I shouldn't be doing it either, but it does happen.
Yeah, I think it's a respect thing. And
Yeah.
same with nursing. Like, if you think that breastfeeding is a big deal and you don't want your 10-year-old son to see me doing that, then I'm never going to do that in front of your kid. Like,
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah, I just feel
But it's
like
been a smooth transition though, right? No issues.
no
easy
issues.
going.
I mean, with home birth, there's no drugs involved. And oh my gosh, we're talking about it. And I literally have let down right now. So if you,
What?
yeah, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, it just went. Maybe he's crying.
Drawing
When he
attention to it.
cries, that happens.
It's so weird.
Even if I'm not in the same room with him, we're like that connected.
That bond is so
Yeah.
strong and bizarre.
All of a sudden, she's going to come through the door and be like, he's hungry.
I know.
I'll be like, I know. Lunch is ready. So, anyway, with the home birth, there's no drugs. So the babies are born very alert
Yeah.
and like ready to nurse. And I noticed with my hospital births, and I don't know if this was, other people's experience as well, but they were a little lazy to nurse right off the bat. And I think they were just,
They're lethargic.
they're lethargic, I
Yeah.
think, from
Nevea especially.
Pitocin and the epidural and whatever, the saline solution, they're all puffy. So Nevea she was lethargic for the first 24 hours. And so we ended up having really a lot of difficulties with nursing. I just thought they were born, they latched, they nursed, they knew how much to drink, and we were good. That's how I went in.
Well, it's one of those
to it.
things. Like, there's no open discussion about it ahead of time. I feel like it just should be more. There should be more emphasis placed on the difficulties of it, especially as a new mom.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know.
I mean, they have like a lactation expert in the hospital and stuff.
Yeah,
They're
but
not that helpful.
Yeah,
and
they're just so medical about everything.
And they're like, make sure that it's just, I feel like you need another mom to say, hey, the first time you nurse, it's hard and it kind of hurts, but like after a few months, like it's not so bad.
You
And
get some calluses.
like you don't know what to expect and you think something's wrong. This isn't right. This is hard. And a lot of moms give up. And I think that's sad because you lose that bond. Like if you don't want to nurse, that's fine. But if you have the deep desire to nurse your baby and then you give up because nobody told you that it's actually hard for the first baby, and then it gets easier, we need to start letting new
and
moms
it's the
know
superior option.
Oh, for
I know
sure.
there's some debate on that as well, which is also generational, I think.
Yes, there was breast is best, and then now it's fed is best.
Still, to this day?
Fed is best is becoming a big thing because there was so much breast is best propaganda, they call it. But it is best. Whether or not you like that, it is best. If you have to do formula, then you have to do formula. Yes, fed is better than not fed. But breast milk is always superior because it has live antibodies in it. It is such intelligent food. Like, did you know that it's so important for moms to kiss their baby's face? And because if a baby is starting to pick up any kind of an illness, even before they show any symptoms of it, you get like germs on your lips, and then it goes into your body and it communicates with your body to produce antibodies for that exact illness in your breast milk.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So breast milk is literally medicine. So if your baby is sick, let's say they get a cold or they get the flu or the hand, foot, and mouth disease, they get something like that. It's in their body and you're kissing their skin.
So you're inoculating baby.
And then also when the baby eats, they transfer small amounts of saliva into the milk ducts, and it communicates with your body to produce antibodies for whatever they got going on.
Smart boobs.
It is smart food. Formula can't do that. And then they do have better formulas now, like I don't know if it's called Bobby or Booby, but it's a new formula. It's supposed to mimic
but it's
breast
still
milk.
it's God's design.
Yeah.
Once again, it's the way God and nature intended.
But like Similac and stuff, the main ingredient in Similac is corn syrup. When you're at the grocery store, pick up the can and read the ingredients and tell me that that's good for a baby.
We're venturing back into a discussion that we had a couple of weeks ago
Yeah.
here. There you go. So there's some hot breastfeeding, nursing, excuse
Booby
me.
buffet.
Some hot nursing discussion to open up this episode of the podcast.
I get off on tangents with this stuff.
This is why you come here.
I'm sorry.
This is why you come here.
Weird.
No, it's good. And I think it's important to emphasize, especially with new moms, like we both said here.
But again, if you can't, or like you can't, like some women get like mastitis really bad, or you were fostering, or the baby's adopted, or you just, I think it's like 15% of moms just can't. They have low milk production. Of course, fed is best. But if you can, stick it out, talk to experienced moms, and we'll tell you that it sucks at first.
All right. There you go.
There you go.
Hot nursing discussion.
I don't want to like poo-poo on formula when it's necessary.
As you guys know, over the past few years, we've really been trying to clean up our diets and educate ourselves on the lies and deceptions in the food and supplement industries. I've been taking protein powder since I was a teenager and realized that whey proteins not only can cause gut inflammation, but often contain fillers, additives, and artificial sweeteners.
Yeah, it's not exactly what you want in your diet when you're trying to add healthy protein, which is what led us to Equip Prime Protein. It's an all-natural grass-fed beef protein that provides the nutrition of 4 ounces of beef, which is 20 grams of protein in every single scoop.
Yeah, it's very clean tasting and comes in some great flavors, including vanilla, chocolate, peanut butter, salted caramel, strawberry, and even iced coffee. So they're perfect for adding to your coffee, a smoothie, or just as a plain protein shake with water or your favorite milk.
Yeah, the strawberry is my absolute go-to in my daily fruit smoothie, and having that added protein during my pregnancy and now during my recovery has been so helpful. But what I really love about Equip is that they value transparency, quality, and customer well-being above anything else. They not only source the cleanest ingredients, but they also add none of the junk, and everything is clearly laid out on the label. So I know exactly what I'm putting in my body.
Prime Protein has been such a game changer for us. We know that you guys are going to love it too, and you can trust that it's the cleanest protein on the market. Equip is giving our viewers an incredible offer. Just head to our link down in the description below, or go to equipfoods.com/NWOS and use our promo code NWOS to get 20% off your first order, or even better, combine this offer with a subscription and get 35% off your first subscription. As a family, we love what Angel Studios stands for. It's entertainment made for folks like us, families, believers, people who feel like Hollywood's forgotten them. And we've been telling you about Angel's newest heartfelt story, The Last Rodeo, starring one of our favorites, Neil McDonough.
It's not just us. Everyone has been raving about this film, and if you haven't seen it yet, it's still in theaters right now. Last Rodeo tells the powerful story of a former PBR champion who returns to bull riding later in life to help out his grandson. And it features real-life PBR riders and bulls, so it's so authentic and real.
Now, if you become a premium member of the Angel Guild, you not only get to help choose which films Angel Studios makes, but you'll also get 2 free tickets to see The Last Rodeo and 2 free tickets to every future Angel theatrical release.
Just head over to angel.com/NWS to sign up and grab your tickets. And while you're there, you can stream more Neil McDonough stories like Homestead and The Shift, plus so many other amazing titles only on Angel.
There are already over 1 million Americans in the Angel Guild helping to shape the future of entertainment. We're just so glad to be a part of that. Let's go to angel.com/NWOS to become a member today, and let's help bring more uplifting stories into the world. Story number 2 that I wanted to talk to you about here on the pod are these Bible stories.
These are weird.
Using characters from the Bible that are using like a vlogging format. This is all artificial intelligence. We've had a lot of AI talk here on the podcast. It is exponentially improving. This particular version and what it is that it's producing here is very, very impressive.
So these aren't people.
These are not people. This is all artificial intelligence generating video content that is pretty dang impressive. Maybe some of the best I've seen yet. It is also controversial for a number of reasons. But again, when you're intertwining artificial intelligence now with stories from the Bible, I mean, that's going to happen. So I want to show this to you and to all of you out there.
All right, let's see it.
We can discuss exactly what it is you think.
I already don't like the first image.
Yeah, there are more. Ready? Here we go.
Fam, they don't know that G-O-D is about to BRB. These Philistines thought they could flex on me. Big mistake. I just took some pre-workout and finna bring the house down. That's good, fam. Your boy David here, about to yeet this little stone at Goliath and see what happens. Okay, so I told y'all to trust the process, but no, y'all wanted to stay in Egypt stacking bricks. Yo, it's
Shadrach and
Shadrach.
Abednego.
This random dude just showed up. It's getting lit in here.
I got the horses in the back. Horse tack is attached. Hat is matte black. Got the boots that's black to match.
Day 2 in the tomb. No Wi-Fi, no snacks. Just kind of waiting for God to respawn me.
You know I'm a daddy's boy. He's got me in this Technicolor drip. Brother's so jelly right now. They're looking a little sus.
I'm supposed to say that God got me pregnant? Yeah, there's no way my parents are buying this story.
I would like to formally apologize to God, the sailors, and this whale. Sorry, dude. I just took a poop over there.
Okay. Before you even comment,
Okay.
can we just say or acknowledge how visually impressive this is
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing though.
for being AI? I'm not saying it's good, but I mean, it's honestly kind of terrifying.
Yeah. I just watched this video that was like, hey, I do not need you to buy me a plane ticket. I'm not real. Hi, grandma. Like, nothing's actually wrong. I'm not tied up in a basement. Please don't send all your money.
warning.
I'm not real.
Yeah.
It was,
right.
And it was like her granddaughter. These people looked real, like real. It was unreal. It was unreal. And there was like a guy like, I'm here. There's a civil war going on in the United States. Just kidding. There's no war and I'm not real. And it was warning like how realistic AI has gotten, where they can literally take someone's likeness, especially someone that spends hours on the internet like us. They could take our likeness so easily and our voice and the way that we talk and create just an absolute double of us.
We've had offers presented to offers presented to us to allow for these AI companies to use our likeness, Melissa and I, our voice, our appearance, plugged into an AI program that would generate some video content.
Yeah, products, like to be able to sell products. And there was a YouTuber that had her face and voice taken, and then all of a sudden she saw herself selling some like male enhancement product.
It happens all the time.
And she's like, what the heck? That's not me, but it was her.
Yeah.
And they
you
just
have no way of knowing.
Nope. She was like, I think she was one of the girls that like lives in her car.
We'll discuss this further. What do you think about the biblical context of these videos, though?
I mean, it's kind of like it's sort of like The Chosen, where they take liberties. They're obviously creating storylines.
Yeah, they're using all this
slang,
current, modern day vernacular.
Some of it, like Moses walking through the parted seas, doesn't really bother me. David being like, I'm about to eat this rock at this giant, see what happens. Things like that. Those are like cute enough. They don't really bother me. They're just like anything.
I mean, it has entertainment value. I was chuckling watching it just for what it is. If you don't take it, to heart too seriously. But yeah, it's a slippery slope. They're walking a very fine line there.
Walking a very fine line.
Because it can be taken, with some offense and whatever. I mean, people are gonna be offended for everything nowadays. But
yeah. So okay, maybe this is just me being older, or maybe this is me being a prudy mom or a Karen or whatever you want to call me. But I don't like when it's Jesus or God.
How about the Virgin Mary one, where she's like, my parents are supposed to believe that.
Yeah.
this is an immaculate
There was
conception.
some like I guess like with David, it didn't bother me. With Joseph, it didn't bother me.
It's funny enough.
Jonah and the whale or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about God and Jesus, there's a different level of respect. They're not the same as the other characters in the Bible, the other people. God and Jesus, again, are not homeboys. They're not on our level. I feel like stuff like this is damaging for people who are younger. People like Kaimani or whatever. He'll think that's hilarious because he's a 14-year-old boy and he's grown up in the age of the internet and he thinks AI is like really interesting because it's going to be huge
It is
in his
interesting.
lifetime.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's going to rule everything in his lifetime. And so he might watch that and not see the offense in it, where I look at that and say it's kind of mockery because you're downplaying, again, the creator of the universe. You're like, oh, we're on the same level. He's relatable. God isn't supposed to be relatable in that way.
It's supposed to be revered.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fear God, and not that you need to live in fear of God, but you need to live with a healthy respect for him.
Yeah.
Because
You think God has a sense of humor at the same time?
I think God probably has a tremendous sense of humor. I mean, look at the
sure.
giraffe.
Yeah, look
Like,
around.
like there are some weird little creatures where you went, let's make that one with a long neck.
Having a fifth baby unexpectedly at 42.
Yeah, that was funny.
Ha ha ha.
He's like, look at these people over here saying they're not having more kids.
So despite your feelings on that, do you think that these companies and these programs should have the ability to take like biblical stories and
Yeah.
turn them into entertaining content with the intention of it being serving as entertainment?
Yes,
Yeah,
because that
yeah.
falls under free speech. I
For
would
sure,
never be
yes.
somebody to stifle that. But would I create it? No. Do I think that it's particularly respectful to God? No, I
It could
don't.
be a lot worse though. I mean, at least they're taking like actual biblical stories and putting their own little twist on
Yeah.
it. They could take it and warp it into something really, really dark.
Well, and it's like The Chosen. A lot of people are really offended by the show The Chosen because they're like, they take so many liberties.
They do.
Well, we don't know what happened during that time. We don't know the true character of all of the disciples. So yes, they took liberties. They created storylines that didn't actually exist.
I think it adds an element of realism to it, though. Like they're like, hey, they were real people
Yes.
living real lives, and yeah, they may have had like these mundane interactions, and sure, it's all scripted content, but it makes it far more relatable.
Yeah, they weren't these perfect people. They were flawed individuals, and they had trials and errors just like all of us, and it does make them more relatable.
I find it all really interesting. I don't know, especially when it comes to like you and I. Do you think there will ever come a time to where the scales tip in that direction, to where you have content creators? Because I know there are already celebrities who are signing over their likeness, their identity, to allow for these AI programs to do. I mean, essentially, I feel like that's one of those things. Like once you let it out of the box, it's just you can do whatever you want. But
I think it's already out of the box. It just hasn't completely taken over yet.
I mean, you have. We might get dinged for this if I say it aloud, but we have some explicit content that's being used where they're taking celebrities' likeness and using it to make really awful, like erotic content.
Yeah,
horrible
and
thing.
Not only that, they're doing it with underage people.
Yeah.
Where it's AI,
Yeah,
but
and I've
like they
heard-
don't even need. Well, and then people were arguing that it was good.
Yeah, in favor of it, which is like astounding to
Who
me.
was saying it?
Was it what's his name? Who's incapacitated right now?
Oh,
Prager.
yeah,
wasn't it?
Dennis Prager. Well,
Somebody who I
feel like
respect.
it was taken a little far.
I don't know. When you listen to it,
He said it was bad.
When you listen to the original
But
source,
better.
I found it disturbing. I came and told you about
Yeah,
it. This was months
you
ago.
were like, listen to this.
There was a clip. I don't want to find it. It's not worth even promoting, but we're here talking about it. To where he basically states like, yeah, it's a better alternative to actual children
'Cause
being
there's no
victimized. In which, I mean, I guess in some weird, sick, contorted way, like I get what you're trying to say, but you shouldn't be facilitating these really evil desires that so many like sex offenders have. I mean, it's a
Essays say that
whatever,
on here.
whatever. It's that's a dark argument to be making.
Right. I did not agree with that argument. I understand that it's better because there's no victims for the actual.
Sure, but at the same time, rather than
But
trying
it's
to address the problem,
feeding
you're
the
being like,
problem.
here's a better alternative.
Yes.
Like, no.
Like what we need to do is wipe it off the
It's
dark
like,
web.
It's like
and everything.
methadone and heroin. Like, hey, we're gonna get you off heroin, and instead you're gonna now be addicted to methadone. Like, okay, that's not a solution.
Well, and the problem is that video or like printed material no longer satisfies, and they do go out looking for actual victims, or they do victimize people in their own
You're
lives.
amplifying those
Yes.
sick twisted internal desires.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can become desensitized to anything and then you want more and more and more. And eventually they are going to want the real thing. So it is damaging all the same. I think we're going to see the end of musicians because AI is going to do so much better.
They're already saying there's going to be a bunch of movies that come out next year that are completely AI generated. The script, the actors, like everything visually that you see, the entire thing will be produced by AI in a matter of however many prompts it is you stick into a given program.
Well, think about if you're Disney. Disney's being ripped apart for all their live actions. One, because they suck. The Snow White one was terrible. I hear Lilo and Stitch is horrible.
We got to see it.
No, it's not the right story. They changed the story. In the end, Nani or whatever her name is ends up leaving Lilo to go to the mainland and pursue Nani's dream of going to college.
It's very, very realistic Hawaii storyline.
Now I know. So now all these people are like, maybe we shouldn't take you to that movie.
No.
I feel like this one's going to hit bad.
No, it's funny you point that out because that's a storyline that is very prevalent in Hawaii with people, people having to leave. Like it's a separate conversation, but a bunch of people are leaving Hawaii because there's such a lack of opportunity, especially young people. They see, all their hopes and dreams being achievable in the mainland. And so everyone leaves. You get a bunch of people from outside of Hawaii who move to Hawaii because it's Hawaii. Who doesn't want to live in Hawaii?
But that's not the story of Lilo and Stitch. And Stitch, her parents, of course, Disney parents, off them. Got to get rid of them right off the bat. They didn't even get to be in the film. They were just dead.
Every time.
Her sister did everything to keep her because Ohana means nobody gets left behind. Well, now Ohana means, according to Disney live action, go pursue your own dream. Go make it happen. Be an independent woman and leave your damn family behind.
Freaking Disney. Come on, Disney.
Come on, Disney. They ruined Lilo and Stitch. I was so hopeful that one was going to be cute.
I still want to see it.
Lilo's adorable, the actress.
Let us know what you guys think. If we had the opportunity to sign our likeness over to an AI company of some kind that would produce content, like indistinguishable content, what it is you guys are used to seeing.
You get 3 videos a week, 30 minutes long.
Who's to say that this podcast right now isn't all AI generated?
It's not.
I'm just saying.
We didn't.
But if you couldn't tell the difference in what it is that you're viewing currently, what would your thoughts be on that? It would be completely inauthentic because it would be 100% fake and false. We wouldn't be sitting here.
No O's and ums, and I can't remember.
It would present an interesting opportunity for you and I to just do nothing.
Who did the AI podcast, like the start of it?
I think it was Marquez Brownlee. There was an episode that he did to where his entire intro was AI generated, and I watched the video and kind of like we just tried to hint at, jokingly referring to the fact that this maybe right now is currently AI. He did that in his video and I was blown away. Yeah. It was terrifying. I was like, hold on a second. The last 5 minutes of everything I just watched was not you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Scary. And then
terrifying.
They're also saying that this could really jam up politicians and things like that because it's like, we have video evidence of this. And it's them and it's their voice and it's not.
And
them.
we're playing catch up as far as legislation goes because you should have to disclose whether or not, like on YouTube, there is a box to be checked now. They've updated everything. So when we
just don't check it.
When we upload a video, but if it's detectable, you should be. I would imagine you're dinged for that somehow.
Probably.
But yeah, even on YouTube now, if you use AI of any kind and you use that in your videos, you have to disclose that. So that I guess there's some kind of a little pop up maybe. Yeah. That notifies the audience, the viewer, that what you're watching isn't real.
It's crazy. I just think we're going to see the end of cartoon. Well, maybe we'll see better Disney movies because Disney just keeps recycling all the same stuff and then messing it all up when they try to recycle it.
Yeah, but even that is disturbing too. So they could say,
write us a classic princess movie where she's saved by the prince, like a new story. Everyone's craving a new classic princess story and nobody can come up with a concept.
But it's the end of creativity. It's the end of what makes all of us human.
I liked when cartoons were hand-drawn.
So do I. They had a feel to them. But even then, you could plug in a prompt into an AI program saying like, hey, put it in the style of 1970s Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah. Remember claymation, like Nestor the donkey and stuff? Those were claymation and they were awesome. And the little clay ears they still hold up today. Kids would still love them.
You could do all of that with AI. It's terrifying. Ooh, let me put up on screen here in our final edit. I will plug in a little, the photo of you and I. We used the kids actually did this. They used an AI program to make Melissa and I babies.
Yeah, but it didn't make us look like us.
I don't think you look like you.
You were a black man, a black baby. You were a
No,
black
not that
baby.
one. The one that turned out like decently. I have my little like work hard, trust God shirt on. It's hilarious.
I don't think I saw it.
Anyway, this is a trend going back a few weeks ago now. The kids took it upon themselves to do this for us. So I will put that on screen. Let us know what
We
you
could do
think.
a
I thought it
whole
was funny.
podcast of us as babies. It's no big deal
Yeah.
if Micah comes in.
Yeah.
He just blends right in. Yeah, I don't know. I think that AI is going to be, I think it's going to damage music. It's going to damage movies. They're going to be able to put out crazy, amazing videos that are going to entertain the masses. People are going to eat it all up, but it's not, there's no human thought behind it.
Yeah.
But then I think the pendulum will swing back to live theater and live music because people,
hope so.
it's going to be trendy to go experience
I
something
think people will
live.
crave it.
Yep.
It's like viewing an empty vessel. There's no genuine, authentic human experience behind it. There's no authenticity behind it. It would be a total bummer. But at the same time, like I said, if it's completely indistinguishable and you're not being told, it's disturbing because you would just take it as it is, and be like, oh, well, here's what Melissa and Jeremy are doing this week. Here's what they're talking about this week. And none of us would be any worse for the wear. You would have no idea.
I mean, yeah. And then people say, well, it's not real, so I wouldn't watch it. Well, you watch sitcoms. You watch hours and hours and seasons of sitcoms where that's all just created. So they're going to be able to take things like you won't be waiting 4 years between seasons of the Stranger Things. They would be able to produce 8 seasons of Stranger Things. No big deal. Not worry about the fact that the kids are now 30. And then, they would just be able to pump that out.
You don't have that problem with AI. You don't have to worry about actors aging,
Yeah.
Gaining weight, becoming pregnant. You don't have to worry about any of that. Crazy to think about. You think there will be AI celebrities in the future? Like certain characters? I do. I think somebody will come up and design a character that is so incredibly likable or attractive or whatever the reason may be. And there will be
And you'll be able to talk,
fans
and you'll be able to
behind it.
probably have relationships with them and
Yeah.
talk to them,
Oh,
call them,
golly.
FaceTime them just one-on-one. Probably, yeah.
I hate even considering
Man, the world's
this reality.
weird. It's getting so weird. Like I think about little Micah. He was born where AI already existed, and he'll just know no different.
I worry about it.
Me too.
I worry about the kind of world like our kids are growing up in.
Like, what does that do psychologically?
We're going to become relics of the past, you and I. When we're elderly,
Yeah.
our grandkids will talk about us like,
We're gonna
oh,
be like, please.
they lived in an era where you
Yeah.
couldn't do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
There was
that?
no internet.
Yeah.
They lived in the dark ages.
And we have conversations with the kids about life before the internet because we're the last of our kind. People like us born in the 80s, we were the last ones to grow up without the internet, which didn't really take off until we were like graduating high school.
Yeah.
And the more time and distance we put between ourselves and that period of time, it's just going to be, things are just going to get weirder and weirder. And you know what?
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. And I think like the whole pandemic thing definitely started the ushering in of the isolation mindset.
Yeah, it's just going to get worse and
because-
worse.
Especially for young people. And a lot of them just never came back from it. They're isolationists. They like to be in their room talking to people on the internet. So they're not forming real relationships and real friendships.
So unhealthy.
And when you see kids hanging out together, none of them are actually interacting. They're
It drives me
they will
insane.
Snapchat each other videos while sitting next to one another.
Adults do it too, though. And you can't say we haven't been guilty of it at times.
Guilty.
Guilty. You know what it is? It's a new world, Melissa. And we're just a couple of old souls. That's exactly
Yeah,
what
but
it
we're
is.
falling into it, and our kids are really falling into it, and their kids are just there's gonna be no separation when we're like, put down your phones. Well, there won't even be phones. Maybe it'll just be like in you.
Chip in your brain.
Oh my gosh.
Integration. It's going to
Yeah.
happen. Look at Mr. Musk, who's having a great week, by the way. Not that we're going to discuss that because you guys aren't here for that. but,
I'm sure you guys have seen all the drama. I still say that it might be fake.
A ploy. Melissa thinks it's a ploy.
I think it's a ploy. I think that they were like, hey,
That's
say
a theory
this.
that's being emphasized.
I think they're sitting next to each other, cracking up, typing this stuff. Hey, call me this next. Okay, now you say that I'm on this list, and then they'll demand the release of it. I don't know. That's my theory. I could be totally wrong.
Mommy and daddy are fighting.
It escalated so daddy and daddy are fighting. It
Daddy and daddy.
escalated so quickly that it seemed fake to me.
It was, yeah. Again, we're not going to jump into this because I don't think that's what any of you are here for. We try to provide some respite this week from the political shenanigans. Let's say.
Yeah, the political shenanigans.
You have a bunch of notes in front of you there.
Okay.
You want to talk about that?
Okay, guys, you have heard us raving about Wild Grain for months now, and that is because we are so addicted to them. They literally have the best biscuits, sourdough bread, croissants, rolls, you name it, that we've ever had. And it has none of the junk that grocery store breads and pastas have. It is homemade, from scratch goodness that I don't have to make.
Yeah, we first discovered Wild Grain about 6 months ago now, and everything has literally been amazing. It's actually the first Bake from Frozen subscription box for sourdough breads, artisanal pastries, and fresh pastas. So they partner with small bakers and pasta makers from across the country to help keep the tradition of nutritious, simple ingredient food alive, and you can customize your box with your favorite products.
Yeah, they have their traditional breads and pastas, which is what we usually order, but they also offer the first ever fully plant-based subscription box for breads and pastas, and really, really good gluten-free options as well. My current favorite is the traditional sourdough loaf, and our family's absolute favorite morning treat is the lemon raspberry biscuits. They are unreal with Wild Grain's creamy French butter.
So now we don't give our family any of the preservatives or other garbage that you'll find in commercial bread and all of the incredible benefits of sourdough without all the hard work. And their sourdough is seriously the best, perfectly chewy on the outside and fluffy and soft on the inside sourdough that we've ever had.
Yeah, Wild Grain is also so convenient because everything ships right to our door and it goes from the freezer to the table in 25 minutes or less. So if you are like us and you love simple ingredient pastas, pastries, cookies, and all the benefits of sourdough bread, definitely go check out Wild Grain by clicking the link in our description below or going to wildgrain.com/NWOS and use our code NWOS to get $30 off your first box. Plus, you're going to get free croissants for life. We are all feeling it. Costs are rising on everything: gas, groceries, home repairs. And if you are a homeowner, you've probably thought, should I call American Financing to refinance and pay off this credit card debt? Then you second guess yourself because of that low interest rate that you currently have.
So listen, that low rate, it's not saving you if you're drowning in credit card interest at 25% or more. That's the math that nobody wants to face, but it's costing you thousands.
Yeah, here's the truth. If you are only making minimum payments, that debt is going to follow you for years. And that is why people are calling American Financing, because they're saving customers on average $800 a month by using their equity to finally break free from that credit card debt.
You owe it to your family to see what's possible. No upfront fees, no pressure. It literally costs you nothing to find out what you could save every month. And if you start today, you may be able to delay up to 2 mortgage payments.
Just call American Financing today, 866-885-8027. That's 866-885-8027, or go to americanfinancing.net/New World. So this kind of goes back to the whole society thing and the separation and the breakdown of social norms. The people that watch us are of an older generation, and we are now of an older generation. So we have a different mindset on family, and it's shifting. So I found this really interesting. I saw, like, when we said, was it last week or the week before?
It was a couple weeks ago.
We were saying that I put into ChatGPT, if I were the devil and I wanted to make women despise motherhood, what would I do? Or if I wanted to make men despise fatherhood, what would I do?
You didn't come up with this. These are prompts.
This is ChatGPT.
Yeah, these are prompts that other people plugged in that kind of
Yes.
garnered some attention. Yeah.
And so you guys thought that I was talking about
Paul Harvey.
Yeah, the Paul Harvey
If I Were the
poem,
Devil.
If I Were the Devil. Amazing poem. Rings
So good.
very true to today.
It's scary.
But that's not what I was referring to. Literally, if you go to ChatGPT and you type in, if I were the devil and I wanted to make women or men despise parenthood. And so this is what ChatGPT said. And then tell me how true this is to what we see going on television, on the internet, and just in our everyday lives. So number one is, I would redefine fulfillment. I would make men or women believe that fulfillment is only found in personal ambitions, career success, or external validation. Motherhood or fatherhood would seem like an obstacle, not a calling of joy.
Yeah. Spot on.
So we're so told, go after your dreams, follow your heart. But the Bible tells us that no good lies in the heart of man. And they mean women too. Yeah. So you're not supposed to, like my dad always said, don't follow your heart. Your heart will deceive you. Follow your brain. Follow what you know is right. And he was correct.
I mean, I get the sentiment. Chase your dreams, but not at the expense of all that is good in your life.
Yes. So I love this, that children will seem like an obstacle.
100%.
And yes, we were kind of taught that, okay, if you become a parent, everything gets real, everything's going to change.
Well, just look at the lies that are perpetuated by people. Like, oh, you're having another kid. Like, you need so much money. Kids are so expensive. No, they're not. We have 5 of them now. One's been raised from birth to adulthood. Kids do not cost that much. You are the person who's in charge, who gets to dictate how much money it is you're devoting to a child. Not to say that you should withhold, but it's if you're providing for your child at a bare minimum, it really doesn't cost all that much, and kids don't require much.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's way more important to just be there and be present.
Yeah, that all comes secondary.
It's so instilled in us that our children need to be in every activity in order to have these opportunities and put these checks on this piece of paper so that when they apply to college, it's like, oh, they played all these sports, and then you're paying for league sports, which
You checked all the boxes.
very expensive.
Yeah, it's kind
and
of out of
then
control.
private coaches, and then you want to send them to these academies and then these summer camps. And yes, it can be very expensive, but then you're not necessarily the one raising your children.
And that's not a requirement, and that can serve as a recipe for misery.
I think so. I think it's overscheduling.
Yeah.
It's stress on the parent. It's stress on the
Yep.
kids.
We've been talking about this for years now. We've known countless families that have done this and that have adopted this model, and they're miserable in the process. Like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Well, I got this, and then
Yep.
at this
And
time
we're driving
going
3 hours to this
right,
game.
and we're going here, and then we're doing this. It's like, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
Again, homebody club.
And it's divide and conquer. Well, dad's taking so-and-so to Spokane, and mom's taking this kid like across down to Boise or
And
whatever.
I get the desire. Like, everyone wants what they interpret as being best for their child, or they want to give their kids the greatest opportunity possible. But it's not a requirement, and
Right.
it's all superfluous. It's extra. It's not necessary by any means.
Yeah, we had all our kids in soccer, and it was really hard because
Yeah,
it was three
gosh.
practices in the
It
rain.
was horrible. I dreaded it, and I grew
I
up playing soccer.
I know. And then Saturday, that's all we did.
Yeah.
And we were bouncing around. Sometimes we were dividing, and then you weren't at someone's game, and I wasn't at someone's game.
When
And
the kids are just as happy at home playing a family board game and then watching a movie.
yeah, I finally went, are any of our kids going to be professional soccer players or college soccer players? Do they have that desire?
Yeah, it's not just about
Because I'd look out at them at the game, and they'd be like, Kira would be like picking flowers.
It's a nice to do, not a need to do.
Right. So anyway, okay, moving on. We got to associate motherhood or fatherhood with oppression. Push the narrative that motherhood and fatherhood is inherently a tool of the patriarchal control. It robs women of freedom and identity rather than being a powerful life-creating role. So yeah, it's like this hindrance of who you are. It's stealing your pink that we talked about.
Yeah.
Women are posting that their children have stolen their pink. And again, that's a reference to flamingos. Mother flamingos lose their color when they have babies.
Well,
Women are saying, I'm losing my pink. I'm losing who I am.
Go back to Stephanie in our first story that we covered here, and all the flack that she's catching as a result of, like, hey, I'm multitasking. I'm doing both. I'm taking care of my kid along the way. Yeah, sure, it's more challenging, but it should be something that she's credited with, rather than receiving any criticism for wanting to do something on her own.
Yeah.
Like, children are not a burden. Sure, it might make things difficult at times. Absolutely, I'm not saying that it doesn't, but it doesn't mean that you should avoid it entirely. As a result, you shouldn't. You embrace it for what it is. You embrace those challenges. You tackle them on. You persevere. You power through.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say, if you think that you're going to continue living the exact same life,
No,
you're not.
no.
And if you can continue living the same life, but that's going to be at the detriment of your kid.
But people want to instill this fear in you of, like, oh, hey, you enjoy running, you like doing ultra marathons. Well,
Yeah.
all that's about to come to a stop. When clearly it's doable.
Yeah, it's doable. So there's a balance in that. If you're a career-driven woman and you just want to go right back to your career after 6 weeks, which we see a lot, and you're taking a child and you're putting them into daycare, I don't think that is the best way of going into parenting.
Neither do I, but personal decision.
Yeah, but I mean, something you really have to realize is in the first 6 months of life, a baby's brain, I think it grows by like 67%. And by the time they're 5, their brain has doubled.
Yeah.
So those years are very important.
Of the utmost
Those are the
importance.
formative years.
Sure.
And they need both parents, but they really need their mother to develop
Maybe I
that.
should rephrase what I said. I think your children should always be priority number one. And if you
Yes.
can make, if you can facilitate a situation to where you're able to stay home with your kids, I do personally believe that that's what is best for the child.
Yeah.
However, I get that life and circumstances dictate.
Single mothers, they
Yeah,
have to work.
it's a situation where, like, hey, you do what you can. I don't think somebody should be guilted for that at the same
No.
time. You know what I mean?
But I do think it's important to understand like the science of the brain development and
Yeah.
everything. So like if you're taking a child in the first 3 months, their brain is like
Sponge.
making all these connections.
Yes.
And that's why it's so important. People are always telling me, again, another comment I get is, oh my God, put that baby down. If you don't put that baby down, you're going to spoil your baby. I personally do not believe that you can spoil a baby. Babies grow in your body for 9 months. They think for the first 8 to 9 months that they are you, that you are one. So they don't want to be separated from you. They are familiar with your heartbeat, with your breathing, with your smell, with everything. They sleep best by you. if you safely co-sleep, there are safe methods of co-sleeping. They have done where they've hooked up the baby to all these different things, and they'll do like a baby in a crib and a baby co-sleeping next to its mother. The baby that co-sleeps next to its mother's breathing is regulated. They don't do that apnea thing where they stop.
Comforting.
Yeah. Well, and they will breathe with the mother because they're so used to being connected to you. So,
and the same thing happens with dads over time, post-birth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That becomes their people. Right. And they look for you in the middle of the night. When a baby is crying in the middle of the night, they are scared. It is not because they are trying to manipulate you. There's literally like, remember Dr. Spock and Dr. Ferber? They became really popular. Ferber. The Ferberizing method. That became really popular in the 80s. Ferber wrote his book in like 1985, Sleep Training.
Let your kid cry it out.
Yeah, but then it really started before. It started in the Industrial Revolution of like getting moms back to work. They needed women workers.
Right.
So they needed babies to be scheduled to follow the mother's work schedule. And there was this psychologist and this behavioral guy, Holtz. He was a behavioral expert, not a father, never had any children, not even married, but he became the expert on telling women how to parent. Get your baby on a schedule. He literally said when a baby wakes up, you should shake their hand. Don't hold them on your lap. If you must kiss them, only once on the forehead. He was the one that wanted babies strapped to a toilet at 8 months old until they would go potty.
What?
Yeah. Really weird. And his granddaughter speaks out about it now. About
8 months old?
8 months old. And you are to wean them at a year because it was, he said that it was like dangerous to nurse past a year because the milk quality decreases so much. We know that's not true. And it was just this separation. Everything was separating the mother and the child. And much to the detriment of the children. They did studies following these kids 30 and 40 years. And kids that were separated from their mothers or left to cry it out had higher anxiety. Crying it out releases massive amounts of cortisol. So, and I know this is not a popular opinion. A lot of people believe in the Ferber method still to this day. Cry it out. Let the baby cry it out. And they will learn to self-soothe. I am of the firm belief that a baby is not self-soothing. So they fuss, then they cry, then they scream, then they go silent. And everyone's like, she soothed herself. No, she gave up. Yeah. She gave up because nobody was coming. Yeah. And that's a feeling of despair. Cortisol levels are through the roof. If a baby experiences high levels of stress as a baby, that carries on through their entire life because that's when their brain and that right frontal lobe is developing that creates their personality. So you've got higher depression, anxiety, and stress in children left to cry it out.
Look at you getting all sciencey.
I'm just saying, I've done a bunch of studies on this. I've listened
You've done studies?
Well, I haven't personally, but I've read these studies.
Our lab results say.
Yeah. I've read all of these studies where they've followed these children. And now there's a lot of experts or mothers that are saying, this is the damage of this method. And so I just read on it.
Yeah, it's just another
really,
one of those things.
Like I know it's convenient.
It feels innately, it doesn't add up. It makes zero sense. Like abandon your kid and they'll self-soothe.
Well,
just leave
we
them.
tried it with Nevaeh. So, because we thought you had to Ferberize, you had to sleep train.
We were new parents.
It was, yeah. And so I wanted to go to her and you were like, don't, because the book says, the Ferber book says, if you go to them once, they'll learn, like babies are manipulative, right? They'll learn eventually, keep crying because eventually she's going to come.
Yeah, but there does come a point when they're, toddlers of like, hey, like you're on your own now. You're old enough to know.
Right, but you can reason with a toddler.
Yeah.
You can reason with a 2 or 3
I'm not trying to disagree with you at all.
You need to sleep in your own bed and be a big boy.
I 100% agree with you. But eventually there does come a point where like there's weaning and then there is like, hey, no, I'm not going to like pick you up every time you fall.
Yeah.
You've got to figure it out on your own.
But I think we have to think about these parenting methods, why they were told to these mothers, and then they've carried on through generations and it's okay to question that. And
you should.
When your baby is crying, literally the reason your milk lets down and stuff is because your body is saying, go to your baby. Yeah. They need you.
Right.
Your body's preparing for it, but we're telling our brains, shut off that instinct.
Yeah, we're overriding it based on like a subject matter expert. We're deferring to experts. Once again, this is a conversation we've had when it comes to a lot of things that pertain, especially in like the medical field. It's just, use your common sense and go with what you feel is right.
Right. And what I'm going to teach my daughters and what I'm going to encourage of my daughter-in-laws is just believe in yourself.
Encourage.
Well, no, it's literally like believe in yourself and follow your instincts. If you feel the need to pick up your child or comfort your child, it's because that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You are their safe person. They are not manipulating you. They need you. If God intended babies to be independent, he would have made them able to walk and go get their own snacks. Like think about a prey animal. A baby horse is born able to stand within minutes of birth. Why? Because they need that for survival.
That'd be really weird with an infant.
Yeah.
They come out, they're just digging through the fridge.
They're meant to be carted around. They're meant to be carried. And in that first 3 months, don't just stick them in a container. Don't just stick them in their room. Don't stick them in a swing to stare at something going back and forth. Literally the most important 3 months is the first 3 months of life for their brain development. Talk to them, carry them, show them things. Like, I mean, when we show Micah, we're cooking noodles, Micah, look, we talk to him.
Yep.
Just,
yeah, and he's a very happy baby as a result.
He is.
He hasn't had, he's 7 weeks old now today. And he hasn't had a single
tear.
Not tear, but he's so quickly comforted and reassured, and because there's so many of us, so somebody's picking him up and making efforts to comfort him. But yeah, I mean, I think it goes a long way. It's the way it's supposed to be.
He's starting to laugh and interact, and he looks for people when they walk behind him. He's moving his head like, where are you going?
Yeah, such a cool process.
Yeah, and babies are so much fun. So anyway, okay. Oh my gosh.
Back on track.
Okay, amplify negative stories. That's the next thing that the devil would do to demonize parenthood. And we see that a lot. Focus attention exclusively on the hard parts. Sleep deprivation, financial burdens, postpartum depression. Hide stories of deep joy, meaning, and transformation. That's literally why I published our birth video after I said I wasn't going to publish our birth, because I wanted to show the joy of life and amplify that this is the most amazing thing that you're ever going to go through, instead of like, this is going to be expensive. This is going to slow us down. But those are the stories you see on like sitcoms. Yeah,
it's really weird. We try to make that fit. Like there are so many awful, dire, very unfortunate circumstances that we have to confront sometimes in life. Like why not take this very happy, what is usually a very happy, joyous occasion and celebrate it?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, if you tell young mothers or young fathers, this is going to be amazing. These, like when I see a pregnant young person, I'm like, oh, you are entering the best chapter in your life.
That's why everyone looks at a pregnant woman a certain way, especially if it's her first child. Everyone's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, like you're about, like anyone that's experienced it is like, oh, you're about to just go through it in the best way. But society is like, ooh, like, oh, wow, things are going to get real, So,
oh, God, I hate that.
Create false choices. Promote the idea that women and men must choose either career or parenthood, but never both in harmony. Make that balance seem impossible.
Yeah.
Like the marathon runner. Yep. So there is balance. It doesn't mean you can't have it all, but you can have a little bit of everything, but please prioritize what's most important. Undermine the value of children. Frame children as burdens, drains on time, money, and freedom, instead of as a blessing, legacies, and a source of deep relational joy.
I can't imagine being at the end of one's life, looking back and not reflecting upon the legacy that you are leaving behind in your children. I can't imagine that scenario, probably because we have 5 kids, but it would be, I don't know, gosh, it'd be really hard to overcome that mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
Laying in your deathbed.
I agree.
Can't imagine.
And then number 7 was for women. It's twist feminism. Now, I find this one really interesting because we're seeing a lot of feminism being twisted these days.
What are you talking about?
Encourage a version of feminism that sees fertility as a weakness and childbearing as backwards rather than empowering.
Yeah, it's the most amazing thing you can do.
Yep. And we're seeing it greatly diminished with true feminism, and true power is the ability to not become a mother, the ability to snuff out the life living inside of you. That's true freedom. That's true feminism.
And make that decision really nonchalantly.
Yeah.
Based on a lack of information or manipulation, like you're referencing.
Yeah, a lot of it's like, it's I saw one lady saying that
It's not a
being
baby.
able to, that it's not a baby, being able to snuff out the life of your preborn child is a rite of passage, that every woman should experience this rite of passage.
It's evil doing its thing.
Yeah. And that's true empowerment. No, true empowerment is labor and delivery.
Fostering that
and
life.
having that life that you grew in your body, that you're going to feed with your body, that you're going to raise, put in your arms. That's true empowerment. And so anyway, I just thought this was really interesting that this is what ChatGPT came up with.
Yeah.
How the devil would destroy parenthood. And we see it today in society.
That's AI being used for good. I completely agree.
Yeah.
And
how honest it was.
It's so efficiently articulated.
Mm-hmm.
We all know these things, but to have it put in writing instantaneously is so impressive.
I love seeing these positive stories on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. I love seeing social media used to empower women, to empower men, to be good fathers, to be good parents, to bring back the nuclear family and find that balance of still having a life and having the life that you love and the job that you enjoy, but bringing back the traditional family too, because I do feel like that we've lost it a little bit. So.
Amen, sister.
Yep.
I feel like I say that every episode now.
Amen, sister.
When you come in with your notes.
I brought my notes.
All right. Wind this one down. You have anything else there?
Yep. No, I think it's time to feed the baby.
I'm sure it is.
It's been an hour. We feed on demand because our little manipulative producer, Micah, he's not manipulating. He's just a cluster feeder.
That's why he's such a chunky monkey.
He's so fat. I've never had a baby be this chunky. He's 13 pounds at 7 weeks old, and he's in the 97th percentile. We've never had that.
No, unless it's head size.
Yeah, that was,
sorry about that, kids.
That was you. It's your bucket that you've been, and I have to birth it. So it's always fun. Love having those 90th percentile heads. But yeah, chunky monkey, producer meat, or Micah.
Producer meat.
Micah. Micah, he's a hungry boy, so we'll go feed him.
All right, that's going to be our hour for this week. So appreciate you being here once again. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Really appreciate the weekly visits. Hopefully you guys enjoy these discussions as much as we do here on our end. We will be back next week, correct?
Yeah, we will be here.
So we'll see you then. Take care. Have a good week. God bless.
Rich men north of Richmond